Let's head now to the Adelaide Oval where the Crows got the scalp that they needed. Now, they were coming off the back of 2 straight losses, but they're back on the winners list after an 18-point win over the Giants. This game, though, was a hard-fought slog. It was a low-scoring, dour affair, and sometimes you just need to win ugly, and that's what they did. But, Kate, what was not so ugly about this game was Adelaide's forward pressure.
Yeah, we're having a look at it now, and it was just immense. It was... Coming into this game, they'd been questioned, okay, can you play with 3 talls? And if you can, how are you defending? Because at the moment, you're leaking way too many points. Yes, it was a low-scoring game game for both teams, but keeping GWS, they still had 43 inside 50s, and they kept them to a very, very low score, so 52-32. Incredible, but... yeah, I think they've really answered a lot of the critics with that, with their ability to pressure a team that does score freely. Yes, no Jesse Hogan for GWS. They still have a very potent forward line. Conditions up against them, but it was a good performance. And as you said, Nat, they needed to take a scalp, and that was the scalp that they got.
So the Crows now sit 4-2, but there was something that soured the win, and that is this injury to one of their star forwards, one of the 3-headed monsters in Darcy Fogarty, a shoulder injury. This will be scanned and assessed and the severity determined in the next 24 hours or so. But what I want to ask you is, what does this mean for the Crows and their forward line going forward? Because we all assume that Taylor Walker at his age, even though he's playing some good footy, wouldn't play every game. He'd be managed throughout the season. Riley Thilthorpe, of course, is there as well. What do you think is going to happen in this scenario, depending on how long he misses?
Well, I mean, injuries are a part of footy, and they need to now adapt to that, obviously, and it's a player... it's been really hard to find 3 key forwards and make it work, and Adelaide were doing that, and you thought as the season went on they would have the luxury of resting Tex as they needed to. So clearly now we'll wait to see what the actual prognosis is around his return, but they're going to be without him, you'd think, with the way that he pushed through, got knocks on top of knocks, and then eventually couldn't complete the game. But I don't think it upsets them too much in the sense that they were probably looking further in the season to experiment with two talls as well. I know Matthew Nicks said pre-game last week that looking ahead to winter, to the wet conditions, they weren't sure if they'd be able to play 2 talls. Obviously now it's not so much as a luxury, maybe. They'll be refined to having the 2 tools that they've got available, but I think disappointing because he was having such a great season in front of the sticks as well, and we'll see how they adapt, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bring sort of a more dynamic small forward in just to sort of see how it works for the next few weeks, because now they have the ability to do that without having to drop a player.
Just quickly on the Giants, this was their 2nd loss of the season. They never really got into this game, but in your calculations, does this loss damage their standing as a genuine premiership contender at all?
Well, I would be completely going against what I said about 5 minutes ago. Absolutely not. Again, it's a long season. I
thought that might be the case.
I think they're allowed to have a little anomaly here and there. It was a really interesting game. It was scrappy. It was wet for the 3rd term. There was a lot going on, and I think there's nothing that really stands out as a real catastrophic fail from this game for GWS.